Are you ready to go?
Ready.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Strength Students podcast. I'm Steve Carty.
I'm Nick Scopoletti.
And we're joined today by Matt Vincent. How you doing today, Matt?
Great. What is up, fellas?
Awesome, dude. Just wanted to take some time, say thank you for joining us. We got to meet Matt when we were out in Sacramento at Super Training Gym, and Matt was nice enough to come on and talk to us about him and his athletic endeavors. How's he going with him in strength and conditioning, the Highland Games, HVIII Brand, all that. So let's just dive into it, man. Let's start with just who you are and what you're currently doing in strength and conditioning.
So I am Matt Vincent, as you said. Welcome. And I am a Highland Game world champion. I won in 2012 and 2014. Other years I've competed as a professional were 2011 through 2016, and I've never finished less than third at a contest, which has been fun. Other than that, I've been training specifically for sports performance since I was 13, so 21 years. Oof. And I've managed to be extremely average at a handful of different things with all of those years involved. So it's been good. It's been great. Other than that, I do own a small to medium small apparel company, HVIII Brand Goods. I make some YouTube videos. I like to travel. I like to enjoy life. And, the big thing I'm trying to share through everything is, strong life's a better one. I owe most of how I feel and how I operate and the travels I've had and the great experiences I've had have all been due to, 21 years ago deciding to get involved with lifting barbells. I want other people to have that type of life as well. And it's just more options that you've got in life being a little healthier, a little fitter. You don't need to spend 4 hours in the gym by any stretch, but if that's your thing.
Good point.
It could be. It's just not mine.
Yeah, 4 hours. Fuck that.
Well, right. It's interesting you say that because I think, especially nowadays, that's a lot of the stigma is like, gym grind. I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm in the gym till 4 p.m. Then I go back at 8 and I'm there till 4. It's like, what the fuck?
I can't tell you how.
What are we doing with this thing?
I can't tell you how little I'm interested in your fucking gym grind. Your gym grind?
Yeah.
Let me just so we're clear on this, like your gym grind is because our lives are so soft and comfortable. Like you're doing fake work. Yeah. You're literally lifting weights to be like doing work so that your muscles grow in a way that you'll never actually need to use your muscles.
I've fucking never heard anyone put it like that before, and that's literally exactly what it is.
It's exactly it, man.
Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love training, but let's not fucking pretend that it's hard or I'm a hero or I'm a badass because I lift weights in my garage or at a gym.
Well, yeah, let's not get crazy.
Right.
This is something I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday. Like the whole fitness thing now of like, I was up at 4 a.m. Where were you? It's like I was sleeping. Like
I don't know, man. I'm self-employed. I fucking barely leave my house.
I was sleeping and recovering.
I don't know what you're doing.
I was sleeping and recovering. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Or it's
sorry. I set up a trip to have a cool new life experience with some friends instead of fucking going to the gym and walking on the treadmill. You could just do that outside your house. It's free.
Yeah.
There's a new place you can go walk called Earth.
Or like,
just discovered.
Why does it matter if you do your hour workout at 4 a.m. and I do my hour workout at 12? Like, it's the same amount of time.
I'm sure they have a very, very busy day manning the counter at GNC.
Shots.
Yo, I worked at high school. Take it easy.
I mean, look, hey, a job's a job, but
when you're 17,
back off the grind thing.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
So how did it all start from you? We talked about the Highland Games and what you're doing now. Like, what was the genesis of Matt Vincent? Where did that start?
Just dying to get in the weight room, right? For high school football. Leaving 8th grade at 13 or whatever it was, and then that summer prior to starting as a freshman, we were able to start getting in the weight room with the high school team and start training, and it was great. I mean, luckily for me, my brother had kind of paved the way as far as lifting had gone, and so I was following his suit in that. He's 4 years older than me, and so we were never in high school at the same time, but he was hell of an athlete. Went and played ball at Texas A&M, played a few years in the league, and now does Highland Games stuff with me. And I just knew that strong was going to benefit sport. And I liked sports. And so if I was going to be better at those, probably being strong wasn't going to hurt.
So that's kind of playing football. That's where it started for you.
Yeah, that's exactly where it started. Yeah, that's where it started. It's always been. It's very rarely that I've trained for the sake of training. I'm really fucking bad at it. I don't know how to do that part. If you got a goal or you want me to get better at something, like I can make total sense of that. But like, just going to the gym today because exercise. I'll just go ride my bike instead.
All right, so it's more for you. You're not so much of like just training to train. It's been like, okay, here's a purpose. I'm training for this sport or this certain thing, and I'm training for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's been all along. There's been some really small stretches that like I'm not participating in something, and man, I am lost in the gym, which is kind of where I'm at right now. But luckily, I've got rehab and trying to be less fat. So
yeah, there you go. So talk a little bit about just like you're going into football now, I guess, and kind of like high school sports, collegiate sports. Like, well, did you play in college? Did you participate in college?
So did high school football, was okay at it, made All-State Louisiana. It was okay. Nobody was recruiting 6 foot, 250 pound guards.
No, you didn't get an offer from LSU?
No big schools were looking for slow guys that were linebacker size. Yeah. So, but I was better at track. And so I started throwing shot put since my freshman year in high school. I liked it all the way from middle school, and I ended up winning a state title in shot put in indoor and outdoor my senior year. And I got a scholarship to LSU to throw shot put, which is a way better college experience in my book. I mean, look, I'm sure people get off on the whole football thing and people giving a shit about what you do. I just don't care. And those dudes are corralled onto a bus to go to practice, and like I'm standing around in no shirt and sunglasses, drinking water, or throwing a discus like life is.
Yeah, dude, football in college is crazy.
This dude was a walk-on.
I mean, I walked down in a smaller school, but I still have that, like...
It's still that, man.
Exactly.
It's still the same deal. Like, you guys don't really travel. It's show up, do a game, get back, and leave. Whereas, like, track, man, we travel a co-ed team, which A is awesome. And then B, like, if we have a track meet, like, track meets are 3 days long. And so, like, for a thrower, if we show up on Wednesday... Like, I'll throw Friday, and I'm done, like, with all 3 of my events by, like, Friday at 1 o'clock.
Hell yeah.
And we don't fly out till Sunday, and so, I mean, we just hung out and partied with
Why did I ever play football? That sounds fucking great.
I remember all
the friends, like, all of our friends were the other throwers from other schools. It was never weird, and so, like, I've made great friends that I still hang out with now from when I was throwing in college.
What I got from football is basically you just mainly hate your life the entire time you're playing. So
yeah, it seems great. Seems like that's what I was really missing out. I remember fucking around in the weight room one day, like deep snapping, and a strength coach and one of the other coaches pulled me aside and started talking to me. Deep snapped in high school, wasn't too bad at it, and as a thrower, I can sling a football. And like, what do you think about coming to walk on and do this? I'm like, why would I do that? That's what my schedule is right now, and how much less stress I have not deep snapping for you.
Right, yeah.
There's no future in me deep snapping.
Right.
It's not going to the NFL to deep snap. They'll find some other guy who's faster and better at it than you. It's never kid yourself at what your actual limit to your abilities are.
And so, making the transition from track here, I mean, did you pursue track like Olympics professionally, like anything like that?
I wasn't very good at it. I was a very average thrower. The best way to describe this, right, is I threw right at about 60 feet in college. You figure Olympic standard, like guys going to go to the Olympics, like you need to be 69 foot plus.
Okay.
70 foot isn't a guarantee anymore to go to the Olympics, but like if you're going to be worth a shit, 70 foot's kind of that barrier.
Okay, gotcha.
Ryan Krauser won a gold medal, and that dude's throwing like 72-10, and he's a monster and amazing. Right, so I'm only giving up 12 feet to those dudes.
Almost there.
Which worked out really well, because if I'd have thrown say if I'd have thrown like 55, 56, I think, which could have been possible had I cared more in college. It would have been far enough to lie to myself about pursuing track professionally for 5 or 6 years. It wouldn't have worked.
So other than Olympics, though, what would have been another avenue to?
That's it. That's your only option. And not only that, like the U.S. has 3 spots for shot putters every 4 years.
Damn.
Those odds aren't good.
No.
And there's a shitload of shot putters.
So is this kind of what was going through your mind, or I mean,
No, I was never even good enough to consider it.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so
I was just ready to graduate and stop throwing at that point, and I'd already opened a bike shop in Baton Rouge for doing bicycle stuff and riding, and so I'd kind of changed focus. Right, that's really where I wanted to be.
What made
so
you
by the time I
open a bike shop?
Bike riding seemed like a next step.
Gotcha.
Wasn't the smartest move I've ever made.
Well, I mean, shit, you went for it. I mean, that's all you
Yeah,
really
sure.
did.
I mean, it was a failure, but I mean, whatever.
Learning experience.
Yeah, it's a costly one.
What and so as far as like your training, like strength training in college for track, just go through that a little bit. Like, what was that like?
It's a little hit or miss. There's some things I really liked from it and some I didn't. One of the problems I have with strength training with track and field for throwers is a lot of coaches, track gets really inbred. And so they're not seeking a lot of outside advice from powerlifting or bodybuilding or Olympic lifting to build programs. I mean, they build track athletes, right? And one of the things you've got to remember as a thrower is like max strength really isn't that important. I mean, it is, but like I don't need to be able to grind out a 700-pound squat for 2 seconds. Like that does fuck all for me as far as being able to throw a 16-pound ball far.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's just too light. And so I've got to figure out how to apply, you know, a 450-pound bench to a 16-pound ball in a quarter second.
Okay.
And so you've got to do that with technique and leverage. Now, if you've got proper technique, strength is a huge factor. But until you can transfer, say, X amount of your potential into the actual item,
Yep.
you know, or implement, like, go throw. You know, spend your time getting better at that.
So
right.
So just getting out into, rather than spending so much time in the weight room, just get out and throw the shot. Like, get out and throw the disc.
You need both.
Yeah, right.
But it's a hell of a lot. I mean, there's a certain level of strength that's good enough till you can fix, you know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Throwing was so humbling. I did it right after football ended. Like, my buddies were doing throwing for track, and I went down, like, just worked out, thought I was cool, and they're like, yeah, we're doing throwing. And I was like, 12-pound ball?
This is easy.
Yo, I got this. They threw, and then I threw it, and it went I was, like, so embarrassed. It went about 3 feet from where I was standing, and I was like, oh, boy, all right.
Yeah, it is. It's super, super humbling for guys, and it's, you know, we get a lot of powerlifter types that'll come out to do the Highland Games, and like
nothing.
So one of the ones that was funny was last year at Costa Mesa, Chad Smith came out and threw with us with the pro group. Chad and I have known each other for quite some time, and so it was just cool to hang out, right? And some of the other, so I think we had like 10 spots or something like that, and so we were going to end up with 11 athletes, but it's only paying to 10. So if you finish 11th, like, SOL, bud. And some of the other throwers I remember had reached out. These are guys in the pro group with us that are like, you know, you're bringing this other guy on, you know, there's no money and he's got a throwing background and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, he's never done a game ever. Like, have a little fucking confidence in your ability as a professional in this to beat someone who's never thrown before.
Right.
And Chad finished last. You know, it's just not that easy. And it's been a long time since Chad was a thrower. And while some of it still applies, like the pro group, we're good. We're good at what we do.
Well, to your point before, like, it's not necessarily transferable. You know, like you can do all the lifting in the weight room that you want, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily transfer to like your sport. Just like a lot of sports, like you could be a weight room freak and it's not necessarily going to transfer.
Yeah, I mean, Chad's a 900-pound squatter, right? And I mean, we had guys that weekend that beat Chad that weigh 240 pounds and probably can't squat 5.
Right. Yeah. It's
But-
technique. Yeah.
But that guy can transfer a higher percentage of his power into the implement than Chad was able to without training it. I mean, I think Chad would be very good at the sport if he decided to do it.
Yeah. It's a skill set. Just like guys that you see bigger dudes, like when Brock Lesnar played professional football.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he looks great and like, what a
Yeah, it's
freak.
just-
But it's like, yo, there's dudes that have just been doing it since they were 8 years old, and they've built a
Right.
skill set. Like, you're not gonna. Doesn't matter what you bench. Like,
Well, and that's a perfect example of that, right? Is dudes like Hapthor over in Iceland. You're talking about a guy who's 6'10" and 400 pounds, and your average moron says, "Why doesn't that guy come over and play American football? Like he can get paid." Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
right.
blah. I'm like, oh, because he's never fucking played football before.
Yeah, that'll be a quick transition.
Like, yeah, just big and heavy doesn't translate to left tackle.
Doesn't mean shit.
right, you're playing left
Right.
tackle. You got a defensive end that's 290, runs a 4.5 40. How fast
Or
can you go
350
backwards?
and runs 4.540 like he's
Right.
now. Like he's dead.
Yeah.
Not only is he dead, like
Quarterback's dead.
some dude who's played football for fucking 10 years at that point is just better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, look, I think he's better than most probably high school players could be right out of the gate, but
I mean, but they're at the same level as him.
yeah, he could probably play very, very well at like a small college, but he'd get his lunch eaten trying to walk on the field and start a Division I school.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the skill set. It's not that he doesn't have the potential to be very good at it. He's just never done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got hands and legs. I have the potential to drive a race car very well.
Yeah, but
But I'd be terrible at it.
that skill development
Right
takes
into the
years.
wall. That's where I'm going.
So let's talk a
Rubbing
little bit.
face is what they say.
Let's talk a little more about the Highland Games now. Like, when did the Highland Games come into play? Like, how did you find out about it? When did this come into your life?
So I guess lucky for me, right, was I spent a couple years doing through the bike shop stuff, kind of got fat, rode my bike a lot and wasn't really lifting, and then got back into lifting and started pursuing some strongman style training and got into powerlifting between those two. And then, the Highland Games exist like as a thrower. It's
Okay.
just, you just know there's this other thing out there, but it's always like, I don't know how to do one. There's none close to here.
It's like
So
an
it's
underground.
it's
like-
common
like
for
beer-
throwers.
Yeah, and this is, and we're talking about 2006.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not as much information's available.
Gotcha.
Right.
Right. I didn't have a me to reach out to and say, how do I get involved in the Highland Games?
Right.
Yeah. Right. No, it wasn't around.
So it's kind of like this thing that, like throwers know, like everyone who's kind of a thrower knows what the Highland Games is. That's kind of
Or should.
okay, or should.
Sure,
Gotcha.
shit should, in my opinion. And so, did strongman, did some powerlifting, had moderate success at both, and then found a Highland game that was local, like Jackson, Louisiana. So it's about an hour from where I live. Went up there as an amateur. I'd trained a couple times for it prior.
Yeah.
And went up as an amateur and really enjoyed myself and threw pretty well. This was a novice class, so I mean, it's nothing. I think my brother and I went and competed at the same time and just had a good time with it. And then met people there, found more games to do, and then started traveling quite a bit to compete. Go to Dallas, which is like 8 hours from here. Did a couple games there in Houston and some different places like that, and then got better at it. Did more games. Started getting invites to games, and then at the end of 2011, I won an amateur world championship, and that got me an automatic invite to professional world championship, which is silly, like 2 weeks later.
Wow.
And so I went to that and took second.
There you go. Shit.
Yeah, it was a good start.
Sweet.
But look, man, that's full advantage coming in, right? Like, I'm in a situation to come into that there's no expectations. I'm on point. I'm throwing very far, and I was supposed to finish last.
Yeah.
I mean, I just came in hair on fire, ready to roll,
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
and had a great time.
And so, which was your first like Highland Games competition ever? Like, where was that? Which one was that?
Jackson, Louisiana.
Okay.
That was
Yeah, that was the one relatively near me.
How'd you do in that one? How'd you do?
I won the novice class.
Oh shit! Nice.
Damn.
It's nothing to brag about. Look, if you've thrown in college, and you've ever touched the implements, like you got a cheat code.
Okay.
Like it already all kind of makes sense.
I see what you're saying. So coming in as a novice, having been like a thrower, you're kind
thrown
of like
15 years. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you kind of like go
I know how to.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
You know, everything throws kind of the same way, right? It's about separation between the upper and lower body so that you can generate force by pushing through your feet that transfers to your hands.
Okay.
And if you can do that without really having to think about it, things go well.
Okay.
You know, instead of fighting and trying to find leverage and balance and things like this.
Okay. So that transfer from sport to sport was pretty close at the time.
Oh, yeah. Throwing's throwing.
Okay. And so when did you kind of realize, I guess, you were like, all right, I'm pretty fucking good at this. I'm gonna get after it.
That was 2000. That was like November of 2008. And then I kind of did probably 7 or 8 games the next year, 2009. And during that season, I knew that I was pretty good at it.
Okay. And so did you decide, like, all right, well, I'm just going to go full bore into this, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was, it ramps up slowly. There wasn't ever a day that I woke up and said, like, now I'm doing this. I mean, I still always had a real job. Yeah. Always had a real job and did stuff like that. And so part of it, I was traveling a lot for work. And so I would try to schedule work trips and sales calls around when there would be a game somewhere so that I could drive up to wherever it was, see people Thursday, Friday, compete Saturday, drive home.
Okay, gotcha. So you were, it's not like you were like, I'm Matt Vincent, just doing the Highland Games of my life. You were like still doing everything else.
Yeah, I was still powerlifting.
Gotcha, okay.
Gotcha.
So competitive.
Still trying to do whatever I want. Yeah, I did a couple years of geared powerlifting and did a couple years raw.
Gotcha, okay. Very cool. And how was that? How did you do in that?
It was all right. I mean, I didn't set anything on fire. Geared, I hit 1,000 squat, a 7 bench, and a 7 deadlift. And then raw, I did a 675 squat, a 425 bench, and a 675 pull.
Dope.
Both at 275.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's okay. They're very average numbers.
Well, and how, from like a competing standpoint, I mean, how many like powerlifting comps did you do? Did you compete like?
I did a couple a year, probably 3 or 4 a year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like competing, and
Gotcha.
So that's where I feel the sharpest. And coming from a track background, right, where during track season in college, like you'll compete basically every weekend from January till June. Mm-hmm. And so the Highland Games is really similar to that for me. I probably do 20, 21 games a year.
Oh, shit.
And right. All from April till the last week of September.
Damn.
So, I mean, there's a lot of 5 weekends in a row, weekend off. I mean, last year I went to Scotland for 16 days and did 11 competitions in 16 days.
Damn.
Oh my God!
It's not a powerlifting meet.
Yeah, right. It's not.
I was going to say,
it's not as taxing on your CNS. And the other side of being able to compete that many times is learning how to compete.
Gotcha.
I've got no problem turning it on, turning it off.
Okay.
I've got to throw 27 attempts, give or take, during a contest. Not counting warm-ups. And I'm going to turn it on about 3 seconds before I need to throw, and then it's done immediately after. I don't try to stay up. Gotcha. I'm usually fucking off, telling jokes, trying to have a beer.
That's smart, though. I mean, there's no need to waste all that outside of your attempts,
You fucking see guys do it. You see guys do it in strongman, too, which is one of the reasons I wanted out of both powerlifting and strongman. Throwers are a different breed, and I much prefer their company.
Okay.
I just can't get psyched up like in a Days End conference room listening to fucking Disturbed. It's the worst thing ever for me.
Ripping a Monster and pre-workout.
Just punching mirrors.
Just some mid 40-year-old dude still powerlifting, like with bright maroon anadrol skin and like has dragged. Watch him. What are you doing, dude? Just do this for you, like hanging out, mean mugging people,
just bleeding out of your nose.
Yeah, just ego and like, come on, man.
So it's something where it's like you do a Highland Games competition, throw a couple times. I mean, you're not like bedridden the next 2 days.
You are early in the season.
Early in the season, gotcha.
But you get in throwing shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's not enough practice that'll get you in competition throwing shape. It's just competitions.
Yeah, I've noticed from playing sports in high school, I've noticed that too. Like, you lift and your conditioning is so hard in the off season, but like, you don't, once you start actually playing the sport, like the sport of football, you're
Different
like,
ball game.
why the fuck? Well, I'm so tired and everything hurts. Like,
So tired. Why is it so hard?
bullshit.
It's starting to rain. Let me actually turn a fucking light on. It's dark as shit in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, dog snuck in.
All right, word. That's better. Like
So
live in a closet.
gotta come out of the closet eventually, dude.
I never will.
So let's talk a little bit about HVIII Brand, man. We'll kind of wrap up the first half here. Talk about
Sure.
HVIII Brand. Like, when did you start that? Inspiration? Like, what is it?
So the hate itself is something like my brother and I had discussed like quite a bit on and off, like kind of an ongoing joke, and then it got expounded upon once I wrote my first book, Training Lab, and then have added to it in each one, Throwing Lab and Strength Lab. And the hate was something we talked about just watching athletes, right, and just seeing different guys who push themselves, and it was always like, you see stories about like Jerry Rice, right? Like that dude up in the morning by himself on his grind, if you will. Make no mistake, that dude's a professional athlete. He's on his grind.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right? That's a job
yeah.
Yeah.
to play a sport. And so, he's out there like running hills, catching bricks, and just outworking everybody around him, like up till retirement, right? Like that dude hates himself more than I do.
Gotcha.
And that was kind of where it all triggered from. It was that idea of like, that guy's willing to suffer more than I am.
Okay.
And so, that guy will get better because every day it's never good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of where the HVIII Brand came from.
Yeah, it's self-motivation through self-loathing.
I used to tell my training clients, like, man, just like, I can't lose weight, and like, I'm trying this diet, and I was like, what do you think I should do? This is what I used to say. This was 3-4 years ago. I was like, you just don't hate yourself enough. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And they would look at
I got
me
no
like,
problem. Yeah.
They look at me with like a half smile, and they're like,
Maybe stop being such a fucking baby. Stop sucking down sugars all day and telling me that you can't lose weight.
Right.
I feel the same way about dudes who are like, oh, I just can't gain weight. Nothing I'm doing. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I really have no sympathy for those motherfuckers.
No, it's very, very simple.
It could be
There's
done.
caloric deficit,
It could be done.
caloric surplus. That's it. Those are your only two options.
It could be done. Listen, it's just as hard as trying to lose weight, but it could be done.
Yeah, right. Make no mistake that, what do you weigh?
Me, 185,
What'd you weigh when you graduated high school?
175.
Yeah, I was 260. Right? So I'm lighter now than I was when I graduated high school, but I've been 260 to 290 for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? It's equally as hard for me to decide to lose weight, cut down, and get lean as it is for you to decide I need to be 250 and really strong.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? We've all got a certain set of skill sets that come with just being alive or genetics. And if I decided I wanted to be really good at road cycling, like, too fucking bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's not in the cards for you. Like, you don't get to be 140 pounds and very good on a road bike.
Yeah, you also got to work with what you got, too.
If you want me to be very strong in 280, I can do very easily.
Yes.
But if you want me to be 10% body fat, like, it's probably never going to happen.
I've been under 200 pounds on like 3 occasions in my 29 years of life. So
right.
That's like, I go like 210 to 225. That's where I'm at forever, I feel like.
And but yeah, you got to play to those skills. It's so funny to me that with strength training, people seem to cast out the idea of like predisposed genetics or predisposed ability or just talent. And, but everyone thinks that like, oh, if I train hard enough or I do this, like I could be world class or a champion or like that it's owed to them or there's some entitlement. But the truth of the matter is you would think I was crazy if I was like, you know what? I love basketball. And at 34, I'm going to commit to like, I've got a coach, I've got time, I'm going to train. And I'm telling you, pour everything into it at 100%. I ain't going to the NBA.
No.
Like there's no amount of coaching or time or effort or outworking that gets me there. I don't have the tools in the toolbox required to play.
You can go to watch a game. But.
Yeah, and I can do that without training. I can maybe be friends with an athlete.
So HVIII Brand kind of started as like a little bit of kind of like a tough love type thing with yourself
absolutely.
and your training. Okay. And so when did that start? When did you start that brand?
The brand started in October of 2014. It was kind of at some point, I guess people that were buying the book and reading the book and following the things I was doing at that time kept asking me for a shirt. Hey, we should make a HVIII shirt. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I just didn't want to be that dude like Cheese Dick selling fucking 20 shirts a year with my name on them somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
It took some time, and so I was like, all right, if we're going to do it, let me try to do it. And I got with a buddy of mine, and we came up with our first design and was really happy with it. And we did a pre-order and sold, 40 or 50 shirts in a week or something like that, and then took all the profit from that and rolled it back in to order more shirts to have stock and inventory to actually sell.
Nice.
And so that's what we've done and continue to grow since.
Okay, cool. So with HVIII Brand, like, where do you see it going? Like, are you just trying to just be straight up apparel, or are you just living in the moment?
Hey, throwing shit at the wall every day.
Yeah, gotcha.
Trying to do more of it. It's definitely trying to branch out. HVIII Brand's doing very, very well apparel wise. And so then, it's trying to figure out next steps of like, what can we afford to do differently? Can we start manufacturing some of our own cut and sew items?
Okay.
Can we change up some things like that? What other stuff can we add to it? I know that like we're in the works right now trying to get our own coffee out, which should be coming pretty soon. And I'm excited about that.
Cool.
Something else I care about. I really like coffee. And so I figure stick to the things I give a shit about and try to make those.
Absolutely.
And so it'll diversify a bit. I think we'll probably continue to do a little bit more with online training, probably stick to our lane with, work with athletes who want to throw.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, we do some different programming, right? We do a general strength programming, and we do some like CrossFit style stuff. We've got a good coach on staff that helps write those programs, and all of it's based on the basic ethos of my training program.
Okay.
With strength, and so I have strength blocks and I have speed power blocks. And so they kind of alternate back and forth. And so it's trying to branch out and figure out like what other paths and what other avenues there are. And then, the other big one for me is I want to do more YouTube. That's really what I enjoy. I really enjoy making videos. I really enjoy traveling and editing and being around people that inspire me and being motivated and trying to share that journey, right? Share that journey that all of these awesome things come to me because I love the barbell.
Word. So just sharing that.
Yeah, and that's what HVIII Brand is kind of about. It's about being out of your comfort zone, man. Like wake up a little bit and realize that the fucking clock's ticking. And it's running out. And if you're not happy or doing something you don't want to do, start making a change and do it now.
Word.
And all those things are going to be easier if you're a little healthier, a little stronger willed, and a little bit more willing to suffer.
Yeah,
I like that.
I can feel you there.
That's a great spot to take a break here. So we're gonna break it, take a quick break, guys, and when we come back, we'll talk to Matt a little more about specifics of the Highland Games and all that. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Want more of the Strength Students podcast? Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Stitcher, I just met her.
All right, guys, welcome back. Second half here with Matt Vincent. We're talking Highland Games. So Matt, just kind of review. We're talking to Matt Vincent, Highland Games athlete, 2-time world champ.
2-time world champ.
Cool. So yeah, we're going to talk to Matt a little more about the Highland Games. So, we talked in the first half about how the Highland Games came around for you, kind of after college. So give us a little bit about the Highland Games. Like, what is the Highland Games and what are these events that you're throwing?
Okay, so we've got 9 standard events. You've got 2 stone throws that you do just like a shot put. You've got 2 weight throws that are kind of a mixture of like the Olympic hammer and the discus as far as like footwork and how you actually throw it. There's a light and a heavy. And so we throw a 28-pound weight, and then we throw a 56-pound weight would be the heavy. They're all weird calculations of stones from Scotland and things they used in farm equipment. So it's 4 stone and 2 stone. Yeah, got that right. And then
Nailed it.
we throw 2 hammers, which is kind of like the Olympic hammer, except you don't spin. And so you kind of anchor to the ground with these gnarly boots with like a blade on the front of them. And then you bring the hammer around you.
Okay.
So your feet
so
don't
you can
move.
No, your feet don't move at all, and you dig into the ground so that you can actually pull down or pull up with your feet
Okay.
and accelerate the implement down.
Okay.
Like being strapped in, not strap on.
Strap-ons. Okay.
And then
They beat us.
we throw the 56-pound weight over a bar for height. And we throw the most famous event would be the caber. That's the big telephone pole looking thing.
Yes, that's the one that I know.
And then last of the 9 would be the sheaf toss, which is a 20-pound burlap bag we throw with a pitchfork for height.
Jesus.
Over something or just...
Yeah, over a bar.
Okay, all right. Damn, you just got a pitchfork. How? That's amazing.
So
Yeah, I have my own pitchfork I travel with. It's real cool. not even inconvenient at all.
Yeah, airports, TSA must be like, yeah.
Is that
Just
carry-on?
answer anytime they say, is that a hockey stick or is that a lacrosse thing or is that, just say yes.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, hey, check this
Whatever
out.
ends this conversation. Sounds great. You were right. I'm going to go now.
So these are some pretty like unconventional events here. So what's like the origin? Give a brief, based off what you know, brief history of the Highland Games. Like what the hell does it come from?
So when the English conquered Scotland, they wouldn't let them train with weapons. And so what the Scottish did was invented these things to continue training and had these as manhood test or clan test to continue training, but with farm equipment, basically.
Okay.
And so you had stones you could launch, you had weights you could throw that were used as a counterbalance, like on a scale for at the market.
Okay.
And then you had hammers, which were basically sledgehammers. Everything's been modified a little bit, right?
Yeah.
To be better for throwing. And so these were the tests that they did to, keep clans in shape, test manhood, blah, 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 stuff they did back in the day.
Oh shit. Okay. So this is Scotland. This is from.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the Scottish Highland Games.
Okay. And so that would kind of explain like you're wearing a kilt during these, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely wear a kilt to compete in.
What do you wear
Which is
under
great.
the kilt? What do you wear
I
under that?
wear spandex just like I do for any other physical activity so I don't end up a bloody, chafed mess.
Gross.
Oh, yeah, it would be bad. It would just be hamburger meat downstairs.
Oh, boy.
A bathing suit area would be a complete disaster.
And so how does the Highland Games work? Is there a league, a federation? Is there one? Are there many? Is it like powerlifting where there's 400 and you don't know what's what?
And everyone
There's none.
Okay.
There's one that's trying, but for sake of discussion, there's none. We're invited, and we're always part of like a bigger festival, like a Renaissance fair or different games. And so they'll have people come out and play pipes and do all these other type of things, right? And we're entertainment. We're part of. That's what we're paid to come do.
Oh, okay.
Compete and throw. This is so people have some shit to watch while vendors can sell turkey legs and funnel
Oh,
cakes.
so it's part of a festival, like year.
Always.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, always.
People doing the LARP, live action role playing.
Well, I don't need you to explain what that acronym is, my friend. I've seen LARPing go down many of times now.
Dude, how
There's definitely a different breed of folks who the Ren Fairy crowd is
Oh, that's real.
strong.
That's real. That's
Oh
not a
yeah,
I've always
Oh,
man.
fuck.
Dude, remember role models?
No, but they do that at the Highland Games.
they don't do it like with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
all right.
They're over in their other area, but there's definitely people who show up like in full cosplay to a Renaissance Fair
I've
Highland
always
Game
wanted,
type
as
thing.
weird as it is,
Time.
I always wanted to do that shit. I feel like it's hilarious. I want to
Get into it.
Whatever you're into, bud. I mean,
Hey, that's your sport, dude.
I've always wanted to be a princess fairy.
it's so nice. That'd be like a level 7 mage. Something cool. An orc. And so we compete usually at those. And so the benefit to that is we're part of a bigger festival. And so, like the pro group, I mean, we're usually invite only. I mean, they pay for our flights and plane tickets, and they pay for our hotel stay. And usually there's prize money every weekend for us to win because, I mean, like the Pleasanton game out in California, and they'll put 250,000 people through the gate that weekend.
Okay.
Wow.
There's big crowds. It's fun.
Sweet. So it's not like a league or federation or anything. It's like, hey, we're throwing this festival and you're a part of it.
No, but since we do the same 9 events every single weekend, it's really easy to rank.
Okay.
I mean, you always say who's the best.
Right.
And so we've got a ranking board that there's 2 games a year I do that are based on rankings. There's a North American Championship and then a National Championship up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania every year.
Okay.
World Championships are loosely based on merit to get invites.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, they seem to invite. It's the top 10, top 12 dudes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, loosely. I mean, there's been some odd picks in years past because they want to have it an international crowd, and there's definitely times when you're like, we could have more than 2 Americans because like there's 5 of us that would just sweep the podium.
Word.
But instead, they invite 2 of us, and there's 3 guys from Scotland. The population density between those 2 things don't add up in my head.
Okay, gotcha. And what are we talking?
Why Poland has as many representatives at the World Championships as the U.S. doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not the guy cutting checks making invites. I just show up when I'm told.
And so are there weight classes for this thing? Like,
there's a under 200-pound weight class, which is lightweight, and then there's us.
Okay.
Everyone else.
Damn.
And your average pro, I'm way on the small side, especially even when I'm bigger. I think someone recently did it. Out of the top 10, average is like 6'3", probably 310.
Okay. Wow.
And so I walk around about 6 foot, 275, 280 at fighting weight.
Okay. So throwers, like thrower size, essentially.
Yeah, thrower size.
Word. All right, cool. And so how does one, like, what's the qualification process? Is there like...
To do which part?
I mean, to compete at, like, world championships, all that. Like say you're like, I want to get started.
At a world championship, like, you got to throw well.
Yeah.
Like, that's a given, right? Be the best guy in your country is usually a pretty easy way to get in.
Okay.
But typically not always guaranteed because invites go out weird because they're held in other countries and they're trying to get things organized and plane flights. I mean, we're still running a show.
Right.
And so it's not all WWE. It's not like it's laid out who's going to win this thing. But there's been plenty of times that invites for like 2017 World Championships have gone out before any 2017 games have happened.
Gotcha.
Huh.
See what I'm saying? So like your invite to 2017 World Championships, which is in September at the end of the season, is based on how well you threw in 2016.
Gotcha.
And I don't think that that's necessary. That'd be something I would change in the sport.
Okay.
Interesting.
And so where is the...
That's what it is.
Yeah. So where is this sport at? I mean, is it on the rise? Is it kind of chilling? Is it like, are more people getting involved in it?
Where do you see
it seems more people are getting involved in it.
Okay.
At the amateur level, I think more ex-throwers are starting to find the sport, so the talent level's stepping up over the last probably 10 years since I've been involved. Stepping up, then I need to consider retiring. Just get out of here. Be done with it.
Go out on top.
Yeah, go out somewhere in the middle is where I like to be. I think it is on the rise a little bit, but I mean, the problem comes like when amateurs get into a new sport, right? And they're so fired up that they found this thing and it's theirs, which is awesome. It's great to be a kook and be fresh into something and be super excited about it, right? But these guys always, the same goes for powerlifting or strongman. These guys are like, it's their whole life and this thing's going to catch on. This could blow up. This could be bigger than the NFL. Like it's been around for 2,000 years, man. It hasn't caught on. This isn't happening. Like, just enjoy it and be part of it and be a cool ambassador for the sport and try to get more people to do it. But like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, but why does it have to be bigger than the NFL? You know what I mean?
It doesn't.
Why can't it just be what it is?
It's the single greatest loophole of strength athletics out there. I mean, compared to powerlifting or strongman or CrossFit or any of these things, right?
Yeah.
I'm a very, very average collegiate thrower. Like, I could not make a living throwing shot put.
Word.
I'll just starve to death. But I would have to chase the Olympics. Like, that's a full-time gig. That's what you've decided to pursue in your life, and that is what you're going to do, your 40 hours a week is going to spend training.
Word.
Whereas the Highland Games, I don't have to train that crazy, and I can be the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I get to travel the world on someone else's dollar. I mean, most years I've done it at the top level, since 2012, my first full pro season. I've made between 25 and 30 grand every year throwing.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that in strongman or powerlifting. And there's a couple guys at World's Strongest Man who do, but we're talking about three guys.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what is kind of transitioning away from Highland Games? Just kind of wrap it up here. What is next for you, man? What is next for Matt Vincent? What's on the horizon?
Being really focused right now on HVIII Brand. That's number one. Is doing as much as I can with that right now. I'm hurt, and so I'm taking this full season off. So okay. I'm not going to see it all during 2017, and then I can reassess come October when my actual off season would start and see what I want to do.
Okay.
And whether I feel healthy enough to start trying to throw again, or if it's time to hang it up. It's cool either way. Highland Games doesn't fucking owe me anything. I got a shit that I've earned over the last 10 years, and I got to have a bunch of great life experiences doing it. I'll happily swap my knee for what I've done for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that is really cool. That is awesome.
So I'm not bitter about it, and I've enjoyed losing weight and having some different focus and traveling to do different things. More traveling is what I want to do and figure out how to fund that.
Gotcha.
We're going to Iceland in June for 10 days.
Nice. Awesome.
With a crew of 8 of us. And so we're going to film a lot of stuff there, go meet up with some friends, Icelandic folks, and talk strength and go lift some stones and do stuff like that.
Gotcha.
There's a lot more experience I want to do based on things I can do because I'm fit and strong. And that's really what I want to pursue. Training's never going to go away. I'm always going to lift. I'm always going to be an athlete. Mm. But training to throw far may be done. It's also really easy for me to feel this way because I can't throw right now.
Right. True.
If I could be throwing and the season was firing up, I would feel totally different.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Totally.
I would have panicked about a month and a half ago because I'm weighing what I'm weighing, and it would be definitely time to get strong again.
Gotcha.
Which is what I've done every year. I was like, I'll lose a little bit of weight, get down to 250, and I'm like, I suck at throwing.
Never mind.
Damn it.
Bounce cheeseburgers, and we're fucking back.
Awesome. All right, so if there's, just to kind of wrap up here, one maybe piece of advice you could give a younger version of yourself or any of kind of our listeners who are, young or new to strength training or any of these sports like powerlifting, Highland Games, what's one piece of advice as far as training you'd give to maybe your younger self or someone who's, getting new to the game now?
Love the process. That's the big one. The big lessons I've learned from top end guys in a lot of different sports and, where I feel myself at this many years into it is there's never going to be a there, in this journey. There's never going to be a spot where I go, well, cool, that's done.
Right.
I hit that goal. I guess I'll just quit. It's no different than, growing HVIII Brand or any of these other different life things. There's no point where I go, we're big enough. Let's stop trying to improve business.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just shut the doors. We hit our goal.
Yeah, no.
It's always going to continue ramping up, and it's always going to be this big process. And in that process, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be goods and bads. There's going to be peaks and valleys and any other metaphors for that. And it's that. It's loving the good and the bad. By definition, most of the days that you're alive and train are going to be average days. You're going to have just as many shit days on the other side of the bell curve as you have really great days.
Definitely.
Learn to love all of them. Learn to love on those shit days when you don't feel like training, you don't doing this. It's just effort. Just get in, put your nose down, do the work, and get the fuck out of there. Learn to have the ability and learn to have, and earn the right to squat and leave on those days because you've done the right thing so many other times. And when things are good, man, pour the coals to it. Be ready to run. It's it's the whole process. It's injuries. It's all these things are going to happen if you're in it long enough. And me sitting around being bitter or being a twat about my knee being jacked up, like, doesn't help anything.
Right.
I mean, dude, this rehab's been a huge reset. It's something else. I can focus on work. I can focus on health. I can focus on my conditioning. I can focus on mobility. Stay focused on what you can do, not what you can't. Because that shit doesn't matter. You can't do it. Just keep moving forward and love all of it. Love rebuilding, love mobility, love the conditioning side of stuff, and always be willing to push yourself to be better. That's all part of the process. I mean, I've lost 50 or so pounds from probably my heaviest, right? There's a good chance that if I stay this weight, I'll never, ever have another gym PR. I'll never hit another lifting PR as strong as I was doing strongman at 310. And that's okay. I did those things.
Right.
But I'm also not the guy who's like, body weight PR, Tuesday PR. Like, I know what my PRs are. There's 5 of them. Like, and that's okay. You know, I mean, there's a point where you're not at your peak to do something anymore. But that doesn't mean you can't be better at something else.
Right.
And your life should go in phases. I mean, I'm sure as shit not the same dude I was at 23 or at 13.
Fuck yeah, hope not.
You know, right? I'd be miserable if I still wanted to do things I did then. I'd beat the shit out of both those kids. I wouldn't want to hang out with either one of them. And you should feel that way. Like, if you're not growing at that type of pace to be like, ugh, 10 years ago, gross.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Like, man, love the process and don't be so fucking locked into something, and don't be so fragile. Don't be so willing to cancel out on a really cool life experience because, oh, I needed to bench today. Like, the timeline ends the same for all of us, man. We're all dead.
Yeah.
Like, whether you did it or you didn't. And there's some balance.
Right.
And so, don't be an asshole. Work really hard. Love the process. That's it.
I like that. That's a perfect spot to wrap it up right there. I like it. So, Matt, real quick, just shout out to where people can find you, like best places to find you, whether it be social media. I know you have the blog on YouTube, all that.
My YouTube is Matthew Vincent. Hopefully you guys are polite enough to link it below to make it easier for people. Instagram is I Hate Matt Vincent, and HVIII Brand Goods is the name of my brand at thehate.com.
Cool. Very good. Dude. All right, Matt. Thank you, man. Appreciate you coming on. We want to give you a big thank you, man. You've been awesome. Like, coming on to our show and everything. Like,
Oh, dude. I don't turn down a lot of this. I like doing this. Right. The parts I don't like talking about are Highland Games. You know? And like I said, maybe that's just because I can't right now. And so it's like, oh, Highland Games, right?
Yeah, right.
The first time I ever thought about that was, so we're getting ready to do a series with, I've recently been getting my concealed carry. And that's kind of what my YouTube series has been about a little bit, is the process of doing that. And since I can carry in my state and I'm not a felon, I'm gonna. And so I'm furthering education past just going to the course and filing paperwork with a buddy of mine, Nick Kumalatos, who is a former Marine Raider, MARSOC guy, and has taught concealed carry and self-defense classes for a long time. And so it's the furthering education, right? It's that, it's growing, it's doing those type of things. And I remember like asking him, like, man, it'd be cool. Like, we'll film a video doing these simple self-defense things about what it's actually like having a concealed carry in a situation, which I'm not capable of.
Yeah.
I got a piece of paper that says I'm allowed to carry, but I don't know how to fucking use a gun. You know, I mean, like, I know how to shoot.
Right, yeah.
But if someone was to approach me,
right,
I don't know how to pull it or do any of these things efficiently, right?
Right.
Whole other skill set.
And he said something along the lines of, he's like, like, making that video is just cringeworthy to him because it's something he spoke about 9 million times. It couldn't be any more boring, right?
Yeah.
It's the point where you just think everyone knows this shit. How can I say it again?
Yeah, right.
And that's how I would feel like if he showed up on my door and was like, I'd like you to teach me how to throw. I'd be like, ugh. Why? Like, do something.
Well, good thing the Highland Games was the shortest part of our show. Talked about everything else. All right, Matt. Thank you again, man. We appreciate you having you on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else? All good?
That's it, man.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Matt. Thank you for joining us, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, cheers, boys.